ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. Revered Swami Gautamanand Ji Maharaj, other respected Swamijis present here, dear Mr. Mani, dear Mr. Krishnamurti, Matajis present here, dear sisters, brothers, friends, dear young friends, dear students of Ramakrishna Mission Ashrama T Nagar, who are going to give a beautiful performance after the evening aarti today. Dear friends, at the outset I would like to express my gratitude to Swami Gautamanand Ji Maharaj for giving me this opportunity of meeting you all and for remaining present in this grand function. When Mr. Mani was felicitated, we have heard two beautiful speeches just now on Sri Ramakrishna, and Mr. Mani, I was very happy to know Mr. Mani has received this award, Vivekananda Vidya Prashasti Award, and Swami Gautamanji was telling me that these various awards have been started from here. That gives me an inspiration. We may also start the awards there in Gujarat for Gujarati writers. And I would extend a hearty welcome to Mr. Mani to come to Gujarat, so that the Gujarati writers will get inspiration. So many books is written on Ramakrishna Vivekananda, so the other Gujarati writers also may get inspiration from him, and in exchange he will get the privilege of seeing our Vivekananda Memorial. You know, there are only 11 places in the whole world where Swami Vivekananda stayed, and they have been converted into memorials. There are so many places Swamiji stayed, but most of the buildings have gone. Original buildings are not there. Even if they are there, the memorials have not been constructed. 11 places where memorials are already there, where Swami Vivekananda stayed. One, Vivekananda Illam, Ice House, Chennai. Kanyakumari, Belgaum, these three in South India. Then of course his birthplace in Calcutta. Then Khetri, the palace where Swamiji stayed, is now with us, it has been converted into memorial. And three in Gujarat. Limdi, the palace where he stayed, has been converted to memorial. Porbandar, the historic Bhojeshwar bungalow in which Swami Vivekananda stayed for more than 4 months in 1892 as the guest of the then Diwan Mani, the then Administrator Shankar Pandurang Pandit, has been converted into memorial in 1997. 12 January we received that bungalow from the government of Gujarat. And the latest one in Baroda, the historic Dilaram bungalow where Swamiji himself stayed as the guest of the then Diwan Manibhai Jasbhai, has been handed over by the government of Gujarat, and we are trying to convert it to memorial. And the building is very old. We are trying to repair it, keeping the old features intact. So I will request Mr. Mani to come to Vivekananda Memorial and inspire the other Gujarati writers. And also I will request Mr. Krishnamurti. So both of them I extend my hearty invitation to visit Gujarat, to visit Baroda, and all the devotees also. All of you are welcome. But free lodging, no boarding. Because we have not got guest house. Of course, it is just near railway station, so whole road is full of guest houses. But we will give you prasad. Very good prasad from Ramakrishna Prasad. So we have already heard beautiful speeches. Now, just now I recited one mantra. Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarva dharma sarupine avatar varisthaya Ramakrishna yate nama. That is the subject, avatar varishtha. What is avatara? Avatara means, does not mean that film. You know, there is a film on avatara. So when I thought that film is making good money, it is hitting the box office, I said, very good, an American film on avatara, but there is nothing of avatara. So this avatara is not that film. What is avatara? Incarnation of God himself. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijameham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. I incarnate myself, Shri Krishna tells Arjuna in the 4th chapter. Whenever there is the virtue subsides, when there is adharma, it spreads, when there is lot of vices are spreading, and when dharma is becoming subdued, at that time, in order to re-establish dharma, re-establish virtues, I incarnate myself, I come myself to the earth, and then what do? I protect all the good people, and I kill all the people, vinashayata duskritam, and I kill all the people who are going against religion or who are doing harm to the society. This is incarnation. The concept of incarnation is coming from avatara, it comes from the word avataranika. We can understand with an analogy. The devotees gather together and they tell, "Oh Lord, we want to have your darshan." Then the Lord says, "Okay, here is Avataranika, here is the ladder of spiritual practices, sadhana. You perform sadhana, you perform spiritual practices, and then you can come to me. I already put 4 yogas, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, raj yoga, jnana yoga, whatever suits you, you perform spiritual practices and you will be able to have my vision." The devotee said, "That we also know. There is nothing new that you have told. But you see, that ladder is very small. And we are all millions of people wanting to see you. Can you tell us, if we go one by one, what point of time we will have your darshan?" Now God was silent. He can't give reply. But if he gives a reply, after 1000 years, it becomes a commitment. When all the people will have darshan, please tell us. God can't say. You are not able to give answer. So you say, you accept the defeat. God says, "Yes, I am defeated." Now, if we give the answer, you will have to do whatever you will say. "Yes, I will do whatever you say if you tell me the real answer of this question." Then he says, "You see this ladder. Why this ladder has been kept? So that one by one all the people will go and reach you. We are all millions of people coming. Now the ladder is there for going up. Can the ladder be used for coming down also?" Yes, that is exactly the answer. You come down with this ladder and we will have darshan. Millions of people in 1 minute we will have darshan. All of us. God had to answer. God had to comply. And so God himself comes, descends. It is not ascent of the humanity to the divinity, but the descent of the divinity to humanity. God comes as himself in the form of a human being and takes the form of a human being and accepts all the sufferings that entails and performs so much spiritual practices. We have to do a lot of spiritual practices in order to become divine. The divine has to undertake a lot of spiritual practices so that he can become human. And still he goes into a trance and then he plays. Sri Ramakrishna used to pray to Divine Mother, "Oh Mother, please do not keep my mind at a very high level. How can I talk to the devotees? Please make it low, low." So he has to practice hard in order to keep his level down. And we have to practice hard in order to make our level of the mind up higher. This is the thing. So God himself comes down for the benefit of humanity. When there is so much of vices, when the whole humanity is suffering, the Lord comes himself. In 1836, there was a great thing. In 1835, Lord Macaulay made a statement in the Parliament, in the British Parliament. "You see, I have gone to India and I tell you, we will fail in our efforts to make India a defeated country because their spirituality, their religion and culture is so strong. We will not be able to win them culturally. The only thing is that if we can have a revolution in the education system, in such a system that they will start hating religion and spirituality and their Indian culture, then only we will succeed. And so in 1836, Lord Macaulay introduced the new education system, and within 3 years, he got such a great reward, such a great return, and such a great result that he wrote. Lord Macaulay wrote to his father, that letter has been now published. He wrote to his father, "Father, what should I say? I am getting tremendous result. No Hindu who has received English education ever remains attached to his religion." That is his challenge. No Hindu who has received English education remains attached to his religion. So, the God thought, in India, the whole kernel is spirituality. If spirituality goes from India, India will be destroyed. And if India gets destroyed, the whole world will get destroyed, because India's contribution has been the contribution of spirituality to the whole world. So God took immediately urgent action. In 1836, immediately he descended Kamarpukur, in the village Kamarpukur, Bengal. And what did he do? In order to protest against Lord Macaulay's education policy, he did not go to school. No, he refused to go. I don't want to go for bread-winning education. No. And then, now he has to conquer all those educated people who have been educated in Lord Macaulay's education policy. Most brilliant of them all was studying in Presidency College in Calcutta. And that time Calcutta was the capital. In the capital, the best college was studying a student, most brilliant of all of them, Narendra Dutt, and he was the son of a lawyer, and he used to argue like anything. And then he read Kant, Hegel, Spencer, John Stuart Mill, all the Western authors, and then he became surcharged with Western philosophy. He said, "I do not believe in God. Where is the documentary evidence? Show me. Have you seen God? You please tell me." And he used to challenge. And one day he went to Maharishi Devendranath Tagore, the father of Rabindranath Tagore. He went to his cabin. "Sir, I want to ask a question." "Yes." "You are meditating too much on God. That's what I heard. Have you seen God?" Maharishi Devendranath Tagore looked at him for some time and then said, "My dear boy, your eyes are beautiful, those of a yogi." Narendranath became very much disappointed. "I am asking, have you seen God?" He says, "Your eyes are beautiful." "I don't want appreciation of my eyes. I want my answer." He couldn't get any answer. He was frustrated, disappointed. One day he had gone to the college. At that time he had already got admission to the Scottish Church College, the General Assembly College, which later on became Scottish Church College in Calcutta. That day the English professor was absent. The professor who used to teach English literature was absent. Nowadays, if the professor is absent, they have a holiday. That time it was not there. Principal Professor William Hastie himself came to take the class of English literature. He was teaching them Excursion, the name of the poem, by Wordsworth. And in that poem, there is a description how the poet, after seeing the natural beauty, goes into a trance, into a superconscious state, into Samadhi state. And the students ask, "Sir, is it possible that somebody can go to a superconscious state? Somebody can go to a Samadhi state?" Then Professor William Hastie said, "It is possible. I have seen one man who frequently enters into the Samadhi state, into this superconscious state. If you want, you can also see that person because he lives in Calcutta. There is the temple Dakshineshwar, Mother Kali's temple. There, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa enters, he lives there, he enters into this Samadhi state." So Narendranath said, "Okay, let me test this Babaji also. I have seen so many Babajis, let me test this Babaji." And he came to Dakshineshwar. And Sri Ramakrishna was talking to the devotees. Narendranath sat down at one place for some time. He listened to the discourses of Sri Ramakrishna. He said, "Now enough of your talking about God. Now answer my question. Have you seen God? Have you seen God?" And for the first time he received a satisfactory reply. Sri Ramakrishna said, "Yes, my dear boy, I have seen God." And then he said, "I am seeing Him more intensely than I am seeing you." And then he said, "If you want, you also can see Him, but you will have to undergo spiritual practices." Now that is the science of religion. Science says H2 plus O2 is equal to H2O. Hydrogen is a gas, oxygen is a gas, how it can give water? No, I don't believe. It's not a question of belief. Come to the laboratory, have hydrolytic process, mix hydrogen, oxygen, and if you don't get water, then you say, I don't believe that H2 plus O2 is equal to H2O. Similarly, Sri Ramakrishna says, I have seen God. You also can see, but you have to come to the laboratory and perform spiritual practices. And Narendranath accepted the challenge. He underwent spiritual practices. He also had a transcendental reality, experience of Nirvikal Samadhi at Kashipur, and that is why when he became a sannyasi, became Swami Vivekananda, and in the world parliament religions he could declare, Shulvantu Vishve Amritasya Putra, Aye Dhamani Divyani Tastu, Vedahametam Purusham Mahantam, Adityavarnam Tamasta Parastat, Tameva Viditvati Mritimeti, Nanya Panta Vidyatayana. This he could say because he had directly experienced that ultimate reality. So this is the first thing we take about Sri Ramakrishna, Avatar Varishtha. But then, what type of demons he killed? Sri Ramchandra killed. Sri Ramchandra killed Ravana, Kumbhakarna. Sri Krishna killed Kansa. So many things, so many demons. But what demons Sri Ramakrishna killed? First demon that he killed. So many demons he has killed. First demon he killed was the demon of doubt. The modern mind is now saying we are in the age of modern science and we do not believe unless there is a document evidence. So on behalf of all of us who were educated in Lord May College education policy, Narendranath went, the most brilliant of them, and he said, I wouldn't believe in God. But Sri Ramakrishna made him believe in God, and that is what the first he defeated. The doubt, that was the demon of doubt. He killed the demon of doubt, as it were. For all of us, now there is a great hope. Yes, God can be seen. God is a reality. It is a reality which can be experienced. This is the modern age. Sri Ramakrishna killed the demon of doubt, and that is why Swami Vivekananda wrote beautiful stotra. Beautiful stotra. Achandala pratihatarayo yasya prema prabaho. And there he says, Sanshaya Rakshasa Nasa Mahastram Yami Gurum Sharanam Bhava Vaidyam. Sanshaya Rakshasa. First Rakshasa he killed was the Sanshaya Rakshasa. Another Rakshasa that he killed was the Rakshasa called consumerism. We are all becoming prey to that demon, consumerism. And now affluenza has come in a big way. In America, now it has come to India also. Affluenza is nothing but a perverted form of consumerism. I want more number of mobiles, more cars, more houses, more dresses, more shoes, more jewels, more jewelry, more. We are not satisfied. That is consumerism. And money. H is directly proportional to M. That is the equation we have written, all of us, where H is equal to happiness and M is equal to money. The more money, the greater will be our happiness. But what is the situation? All over the world you find the richest countries are now producing books, bestseller books, how to commit suicide. And entering into mental hospital. Becoming psychic patient. They are having more money. Money cannot bring happiness and peace. Money is very important for our life. But Swami Vivekananda says, the time was ripe when one person could show with his own life that without any money, one could be very happy and cheerful and can have all the fun of the world. And that is why Sri Ramakrishna came in order to show the worth of money. So what did he do? One hand he took some dust and one hand he took some money. Taka, mati, taka, and just threw into the Ganges to show the worthlessness of money. Money, if it is well earned, can give you happiness. If it is judiciously earned through right means and is used properly, it may give happiness. Otherwise, money will bring court cases. Money will bring the fight between two brothers. Money will bring suicide. Money will bring mental frustration. This is all that money is bringing today, because that is why Sri Ramakrishna said money cannot be the goal of life. Money is very important, but money cannot be the goal of life. And then somebody may challenge, oh, you are having lot of money and that is why you are telling that. So Sri Ramakrishna did not have any money. Not only that, he refused to accept money. Not only that, if any coin touched him, his hand would be bending like this and he would get a shock as if a scorpion has stung it. When Narendranath heard it, he was a college student, he said, you devotees are all fools. Once you become a devotee, you become a fool. Why do you believe all those things? You can say this much, that Sri Ramakrishna does not hold money. He is not mad after money. That much I can understand. Why do you exaggerate that he cannot touch money, and if the money is touched, and if a metal is touched, his body becomes, his hand gets transformed, his hand gets twisted, and then he gets a scorpion sting? Why do you exaggerate all that? One day, Sri Ramakrishna was in his room. He walked away, went to other side, to Panchavati side with the devotees. At that time, Narendranath came. Suddenly an idea struck him. Today I am going to leak out the secret and let the people know what is this Babaji is telling is all wrong. And all the devotees, they are all wrong. I will prove it. So what did he do? As soon as he saw nobody is in the room, suddenly he took out one coin from his pocket and he put it under the cot where Sri Ramakrishna used to sit. Then that cot, there was a mattress. Under the mattress, he kept the coin. And then he stood in one corner. Now, let me see what happens. Let me see the fun. The cat will be out of the bag. After some time, Sri Ramakrishna came. As soon as he sat down, he stood like this, as if there is a scorpion's tongue. Then the devotees said, they saw nothing. Again he is sitting. Again he gets a sting of a scorpion. Then the devotees just took out the mattress and threw it. And then that coin came out. Who kept the coin? All started thinking how the coin came into the mattress of Sri Ramakrishna. They all started looking. Sri Ramakrishna also started looking all sides. Then he saw one corner, Narendranath was standing like this with the head down. Sri Ramakrishna understood, but he did not get offended. He smiled and said, oh my dear boy, you have done the right thing. You must test your teacher and then accept him. So Swami Vivekananda tested everything. He did not accept. Even this, what he said, Avatar Varishta, he did not say like this. He was not a fanatic. He was against fanaticism. He was against dogmatism. So when he says Swami Vivekananda says Avatar Varishta, it has got another connotation. And he tested him. So many times he tested him like this. But still the doubt remained. Now 16th August 1886, Sri Ramakrishna gave up his body. He entered into Nirvikal Samadhi. Just a few days before this, an incident happened. Sri Ramakrishna was having cancer. He was brought at the Kashipur Garden House. All the young disciples were serving him, including Narendra and his brother disciples. They were serving him. At that time, Sri Ramakrishna had cancer and he was suffering very much from the excruciating pain that he had in the throat. And he was just screaming, sometimes out of pain. Narendranath was serving him. Suddenly, a doubt entered into Narendranath's mind. They are all telling Sri Ramakrishna is an incarnation of God. How it could be? If he is an incarnation, why he is screaming like this? Why he is suffering like this? No, he cannot be an incarnation. Let other people say, I will not believe. And suddenly a thought came to his mind. If at this time, when he is suffering so much, if he himself admits, yes, I am an incarnation of God, then only I believe. Otherwise I will not believe. And what a strange thing. Just as soon as that thought crossed his mind, Sri Ramakrishna looked at him from in the bed he was sleeping, and he looked at him and said, Naren, ekhono vishwas, jini Ram, jini Krishna, tini idaning Ram Krishna, tor Vedantik de noy. He said in Bengali, Naren, still you have got doubt. One who was Rama, one who was Krishna, has now come in the form of Ram Krishna, but not from your Vedantic sense. Not from your Vedantic sense. According to Vedanta, everybody is Brahman. No, in a special sense, one who was Rama, one who was Krishna, came in the form of Ram Krishna. Now another problem comes. Another dilemma. If one was Rama, one was Krishna, he came in the form of Ramakrishna, then Ram is equal to Krishna is equal to Ramakrishna. Isn't it? That is the equation. But Swami Vivekananda says, Avatar Varishtha, he was the greatest of all incarnations. That means Rama inferior, Krishna inferior? No. Then can you solve the dilemma? This question was asked to the 10th president of Ramakrishna Math and Mission, Swami Vireshwaranandji Maharaj. He was a direct disciple of Holy Mother. He gave a beautiful reply. You see, it is like this. I will give an analogy. It may not be perfect, but I will try to explain. There is an actor who acts in various dramas, in various films. He plays. Same actor is playing various types of roles. But then we say, in that particular role, he was at his best. Similarly, the same actor came in the form of Rama, came in the form of Krishna, again he changed the dress, came in the form of Ramakrishna, but when he came in the form of Ramakrishna, he was at his best. He was at his best. Why? He came with the Sattva-guna Aishwarya. This time he came because it was needed. This time it was not needed to kill one Ravana, one Kumbhakarna. Very easy to kill one Ravana, one Kumbhakarna. But in this age, everybody having Ravana, Kumbhakarna inside. What to do? So he has to have a special power. So he came, he was at his best, and he killed the demon of materialism, the demon of consumerism, the demon of doubt, and also one more demon that was to be killed this time. Because so far there was fight between religion and non-religion, between religion and science. But third, religion and religion are fighting in the modern age. One religion said, if you don't follow my religion, then I will kill you. This is what has happened. So, in this age, dogmatism, fanaticism, sectarianism, this became very much in vogue. And so, Sri Ramakrishna, what did he do? He first had wonderful experience of Mother Kali. He did not stop there. Then, he brought about interfaith harmony and intrafaith harmony, both. But not by preaching, by demonstrating from his own life. First, he had the vision of Mother Kali, then he had the vision of Rama, vision of Krishna, then he practiced 64 tantras. Not only that, he practiced Advaita Vedanta and remained in this superconscious state for 6 months. In superconscious state, he lived for 6 months. All the various types of religious practices, Sri Ramakrishna demonstrated through his own life and came to the conclusion that ultimately they are all leading to the same goal. But not only all the religious practices of Hinduism, he also practiced Islam. When he practiced Islam, he lived like a Muslim, he acted like a Muslim, removed all the gods and goddesses from his room. He used to go to namaz. There was a mosque nearby. 5 times in a day he would go, exactly perform what a Muslim will do. And after undergoing spiritual practices of an Islam religion, he came to the final culmination, and that time he had a transcendental reality and experience that he had at the culmination of Islam. Similarly, he practiced Christianity and he used to listen to Bible, and then he had a vision. When he was under Panchvati at Dakshineshwar, suddenly he found a large man coming, a tall man coming to him. And he came, and suddenly Sri Ramakrishna's mind said, oh, here is Christ who sacrificed his life for removing the sufferings of humanity. And by that time, Christ came, embraced him, and disappeared into him. And so Sri Ramakrishna, after that, he had a transcendental experience. So Sri Ramakrishna said, I have practiced all religions by turn. At the end of all the practices, I had only one experience. So I can say, Joto Mat, Toto Pat. As many faiths, so many paths. So, God of All is the name of the book written by Claude Allen Stark. Claude Allen Stark says, in this modern age, when we are all fighting over religion, when there is a very big problem of multiplicity of religions, at that time, in order to solve this mystery, if one person can come and can practice all these religious practices of every religion and then come to the conclusion that all religions lead to the same goal, then only the modern man will listen to him. Just simply theoretically telling that all religions are equally true or valid paths to God will not be heard. experimental verification is necessary in the modern age. So if a person can do like that, then only this problem of multiplicity of faiths, plurality of religions will be solved. And then Claude Allen starts, fortunately, such a man was already born. Fortunately, he practiced all religions. Fortunately, he came to the conclusion after practicing all the religions that all the paths are equal and valid paths to reach that ultimate reality. But unfortunately, we are not aware about him, and that is Sri Ram Krishna Paramahans of India. He has already solved the riddles. He has demonstrated through his life. He has solved the problems of interfaith harmony and intrafaith harmony. Today, we are talking about globalization. Globalization already come on the economic front. Communication technology advanced so much, physical distance has been annihilated. When Swami Vivekananda started for America to participate in the World Parliament of Religions for Chicago, on 31st May, he reached after 2 months in the end of June, he reached Chicago. And I started from Ahmedabad on 18th June, morning 4 o'clock. By 2 o'clock, I was in New York. Communication technology has been annihilated. Through cyberspace, through mobile, through internet, the whole world has been connected as was never been connected. Physical distance has been annihilated. It has become a global village. But the mental distance has been increased. Physical distance annihilated, but mental distance increased. There is no love between brother and brother, between husband and wife. There is communication gap between parents and children, and from one religious followers to the followers of other religions, there is so much of widening. So there is no global peace. In the age of globalization, if we want global peace, we must have global civilization. That only can come when we have this interfaith harmony. Without that, it is not possible. And that is why we have to follow what Sri Ramakrishna has practiced. He has given the solution to all the problems. The demon of fanaticism has been killed by Sri Ramakrishna by performing all the spiritual practices and demonstrating that all religions lead to the same goal. And beautifully explains, there is a pond of water. From one side, Hindu says, I have brought jal. From the other side, Muslim says, no, I have brought pani. Third side, Christian says, no, I have brought water. From the fourth side, the fourth says, no, I have brought aqua. Why are you quarreling? The same thing is called aqua, water, pani and jal. Names are different, but element is the same. If you ask the scientists, they will say it is H2O. Name you may give whatever it is. So it is one ultimate reality. Some may call Allah, some may call God, some may call Harmuzda. Names are different. It is the same ultimate reality. So Sri Ramakrishna has demonstrated by his own life that all religions lead to the same goal. So many demons Sri Ramakrishna has killed. The demon of doubt, Sanshaya, Rakshasa, Nasa Mahastram, demon of consumerism, by his life, simple life, without any money, that Tyaga at the highest point, renunciation, the highest example of renunciation. He did not touch money. One day Lakshmi Narayan Marwadi came and wanted to give him 10,000 rupees. 10,000 rupees at that time means it must be minimum 100 crores of rupees. If you get 100 crores of rupees, you will become unconscious. Why? My God, 100 crores of rupees, you will get heart fail. You will become so happy. Sri Ramakrishna also fell into unconscious. But when he got consciousness, he said, get out. Now you must not come and show me this money. Otherwise, I will not allow you to come. He became unconscious because of the grief. And you will become unconscious by idea of getting the money. This is the only difference. So Sri Ramakrishna did not accept money. 10,000 rupees. Lakshmi and Marwadi he had brought. He has shown by his example the greatest, and then renunciation of both the lust and the money. He married, but Sharda Devi, a wonderful relationship with Sharda Devi, worshipped her as divine mother. This demon of atrocities on women, that is because of which Our country had to face 1000 years of slavery. Sri Ram Swami Vivekananda said, why our country is backward? Because Shakti is not honored here. So in order to mend up that one, Sri Ramakrishna came this time. That time when he came as Rama, he had made Sita exile. This time, in order to make up for whatever insults he had done, of course, that time it was necessary as a king. He had to show the demonstration at that time. This time, separate demonstration. This is the age of women empowerment and development. So what did he do? He came, he worshipped his wife Sharda Devi as divine mother. Worshipped Shodashi Puja and made her the mother of all. And that is how women empowerment. And then he said, Sharda Devi will be the demonstration model of all the women. So Sri Ramakrishna in this age has solved the problems of the modern society. And so Swami Vivekananda says he is the latest and the most perfect incarnation of God. You know, we want latest design of clothes, latest design of mobile, latest model of car. We want latest. So Sri Ramakrishna latest model of incarnation for the modern age. And he has solved the problems of the modern society. Whatever problems we are facing, he has given the solution to all the problems. And that is why Sri Ramakrishna says, Avatar Varisthaya Ramakrishna Yati Nama. Not that other incarnations are inferior. No. Other, Jai Ram, Jai Krishna, say Ramakrishna. One who was Rama, one who was Krishna. The same person came in the form of Ramakrishna, changing the dress only. But this time, latest dress and the latest lila and the latest sports necessary for the modern age. He was at his best when he came in the form of Ramakrishna. And then sometimes you know what happens. The best actor shows all his best performances of other times. There are small clippings. Small clipping, best performance of all the times. You find sometimes best of the best. Sometimes you get that performance. Sri Ramakrishna did the same thing. The best performance of all the other incarnations in one life he made. For example, Ramchandra, he practiced truth. Raghukula Riti Sada Chali Ai, Prana Jayaru, Vachana Na Jai. Sri Ramakrishna practiced truth. And Sri Ramakrishna, right from childhood, he said, no, I will take Bhiksha from Dhani Kamarin because I have given the words, Raghukula Riti Sada Chali Ai. I will not go back from my words. He established truth. The truth that was established with Rama came again in the form of Ramakrishna. The spirit of renunciation, of Tyaga, Buddha, same Tyaga you get in Ramakrishna. Krishna, harmony of all so many faiths. Sri Ramakrishna practiced all the harmony. So the best of all the other incarnations, Chaitanya, the God of love, so much Sri Ramakrishna is dancing like Chaitanya. So the best, and Christ, he suffered. He had crucifixion for saving the people from saving the humanity. He had undergone a lot of suffering. So he had crucifixion. Sri Ramakrishna getting cancer is nothing short of crucifixion. So much of suffering he underwent at Kashipur. So Sri Ramakrishna has demonstrated the best of Christ, the best of Rama, the best of Krishna, the best of Chaitanya Lila, the best of Buddha Lila, and solved all the extra problems that we had in the modern society which were not there in the previous times. And that is why Swami Vivekananda says he is the latest and the most perfect incarnations of God. Avatar Varishta. Last, my time is ending. Girish Chandra Ghosh said, if you want to measure the greatness, glory of Sri Ramakrishna, don't look at Swami Vivekananda. He was a student and he was the son of a lawyer coming from a very good family. To convert Naren into Swami Vivekananda is not a big deal. But converting myself, a sinner, like Girish Ghosh, he said, look at me. I have not done anything, I have not kept anything undone. All the vices that can be practiced on the earth, I have practiced in my life. All evil things I have done. And liquor, wine, so many bottles I have drunk. If you put one bottle over the other, it will cross Mount Kailash. He was a great poet and dramatist. So he said, I have not kept anything undone. Every vice I have practiced. But Sri Ramakrishna, this time, he did not kill Ravana and Kumbhakarna. He did not kill the demons. He converted sinners into saints. Sri Girish Ghosh later on, Sri Ramakrishna never said, you give up wine. He only said, take as the prasadi of Divine Mother. But later on, Girish Chandra Ghosh got converted. Why? Because of the love. and unselfish love. So much of love he received from Sri Ramakrishna that he could no longer give suffering to a person who loved so much, and so he had to leave the liquor, he had to leave all the vices. He became a saint. At the time of death, taking the name of Sri Ramakrishna, he entered into Ramakrishna Loka, and so he said, Sri Ramakrishna came not for killing the demons, for converting demons into sinners like me in this age. There, when to Sri Ramakrishna, many lady devotees used to come. One was Yogin Ma. Yogin Ma's brother, Hiralal, never liked that his sister should go to that half-mad Brahmin of Dakshineshwar. So one day Sri Ramakrishna was to come to his house. This is Hiralal's house. That means Yogin Ma had invited him. Now Hiralal thought, I must teach a lesson to this Paramahansa, so this fellow will forget all about his Paramahansgiri. All Paramahansgiri bhule jabe. So what to do? So in that area there was a great scoundrel, Gunda, Manmad Gunda. He called Manmad Gunda. He said, you try to give so much of beatings to this Ramakrishna Paramahans that he will forget all his Paramahansgiri. He said, don't worry, I have handled so many people. So as soon as Sri Ramakrishna came, he sat down here, the devotees started coming. Then Manmatha came, the Gunda, the scoundrel, in order to teach lesson to Paramahansa, so that his sister of Hiralal would never go to this Paramahansa. He came with the idea of beating Ramakrishna. But as soon as he entered, Sri Ramakrishna just shoot one arrow. What was the arrow? Arrow of love coming from his eyes. And he was killed. When Manmatha received that love from Sri Ramakrishna, such a loving glance of Sri Ramakrishna, he was converted. He had come to beat him. He just prostrated, fell down flat on the earth and made pranam. And then Sri Ramakrishna lovingly gave him glances, one or two words, converted. And Manmatha became a great devotee, and he used to call Sri Ramakrishna Priyanath, beloved. And taking the name of his beloved Priyanath, he went to Ramakrishna Lok at the time of death. That is how Sri Ramakrishna converted these sinners into saints rather than killing them. Because Avatar Varishtha, this time a great incarnation has come for the modern age society. And he came. Sri Ramchandra has arrow. Krishna has got the Sudarshan Chakra. Where is the weapon? Girish Ghosh came. Yes, he has got a weapon. What is the weapon? Weapon is Pranam Astra. He has come with the weapon of Pranama, prostration. When Sri Ramakrishna for the first time came to Star Theatre, which was run by Girish Ghosh to see the performance on Chaitanya, then the devotee said, Paramahansa has come. Will you give him a free pass? Yes, I will give a free pass. But all the devotees have to purchase ticket. Yes. But will you not come down to receive Sri Ramakrishna? What? He is such a great saint that I have to come. I don't believe in all these saints and all that on devotees. I don't believe in religion also. Why should I come and greet him? Anyway, you are telling, okay, I will go. So he went down and stood like this. But Sri Ramakrishna, as soon as he alighted from the horse carriage, he just saluted him like him. Now, the courtesy demands the other person is saluting like this. So because of the courtesy, he also folded his hands. Then Sri Ramakrishna bowed down. Such a great man, Paramahansa is bowing down, so he also bowed down. Then Sri Ramakrishna prostrated further. Girish Ghosh, I can't do that. Girish Ghosh said, I am defeated. So by Pranamastra, he is defeated because of his humility. And Girish Ghosh was won over. Such a great, so many of them. You read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, beautiful sentences, the world famous book. Read the divine play of Sri Ramakrishna, read they lived with God, God lived with them. So many devotees, how he transformed their lives. And he used to go to the top of the terrace of Dakshineshwar. Devotees, come. I cannot live without you. And today also he is calling. At his call you have come all the way. So many of you have come. At the call, love from Sri Ramakrishna. He is still loving. He is still calling. Please come. Please come. Take the nectar of spirituality. We are born as human beings. The aim of life is to realize God. Very simple ways. No, you can realize God while standing on your feet. You don't have to do Sirsasana. No, Sri Ramakrishna gives very, very simple advice. You don't have to go for fasting. You don't have to go for Sirsasana, remaining your life wherever you are, whatever you are working. Don't have to go to the forest. No. Can we realize God by living in the world? Yes, you must, but you can. But remember, if the boat is there in the water, no problem. But if there water in the boat will sink. You remain in the world. World should not remain in you. Live in the world with sense of detachment. And wherever you are, you can realize God, get infinite joy, infinite happiness, infinite bliss. What a great message. Sri Ramakrishna has already solved all the problems of the modern society. The global civilization must emerge based on the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, and then there will be global peace. At the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, let us offer our prayers so that we can imbibe some of the teachings in our life and can make our lives sublime. Thank you very much.